I found years ago when I would access tree stands, my tendency was just to walk to a stand. After years of doing this, I've really learned how critical it is, especially the last steps getting to a tree stand site. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a minute here to talk about whitetail access and how critical it is for the whitetail hunter, especially the whitetail hunter that's hunting mature animals. I found years ago when I would access tree stands, my tendency was just to walk to a stand, you know, at a regular rate and get to the stand and set up and start hunting. But after years of doing this, I've really learned how critical it is, especially the last steps getting to a tree stand site. If you know the lay of your land, how closely deer are bedded, or deer may be bedded close, as the colder part of the year comes on and the ground gets noisier, more frozen, crunchy snow, whatever, it's just a real critical game as far as getting to the tree stand sites. And I'm standing beside a tree stand site here that's about 10 steps away from me, that I haven't gone to yet. And I just wanted to touch base on how critical it is as far as these last 10 steps and how long you take to get here. Now, if I'm hunting with a buddy, I'm hoping that it's my treat to get dropped at the field's edge here today. But if it's not, I would have walked a distance across the field. I would have slowed my walk down and then slowed my walk down very, very slow as I got to the field's edge, which I am standing now. So obviously I'm in the field here, back in here. The tree stand site, like I said, is 10 yards here. But behind that is a spruce area with bedded deer. Obviously we're filming here today, so we're making lots of noise. There won't be any deer standing there right now, but if it was a normal November day, I'd be getting myself here somehow, and then I would be starting my walk to these 10 steps. And the thing that's critical here is these mature deer, but especially mature deer, know how to interpret the footsteps, the noise. Is it a squirrel? Is it a bird? Is it a mouse? Is it a coyote? Is it a predator? And obviously a predator being a human, including other animals. So these steps are very key as to how you create the noise. So if I walk here, I slow my roll down, and then I just very, very carefully over a period of minutes get my additional 10 steps to my tree stand site, to where I do my install with everything pre-rigged and silenced and taped up, so I can actually get up at height in silence. And I've literally got my gear organized in such a way that if there is a mature buck bedded within 50 yards noise-wise, I can generally get in a tree. Of course, if he's facing looking at me, there's no hope. But a lot of times they're comfortable laying in their beds, and as long as they hear natural noises that they interpret as not being dangerous, then they'll stay in their beds. After being in a tree with a good wind, steady wind, for an hour, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be, those bucks just have interpreted that they're safe, and they may get up and walk straight to you because you've gotten in there without alarming them. They can also be on to you though and stay in their beds and ultimately get up only to walk straight away because they know they didn't like what was there or what they had heard, but it won't be enough to get them out of their beds unless it's quite intrusive. Anyway, so that's the gist of what we're trying to do here and demonstrate how we're going to get into through this distance of 10 yards quietly. Just to emphasize how important this, I would a lot of times get dropped out of a vehicle right where I'm standing. Obviously the field is here, the woods start here. So the first thing I would do is get out of a vehicle, whatever it might be, a four-wheeler, you know, a Ranger, UTV, whatever, or even a truck. I would slide out of this vehicle, plant my feet, grab my stuff quietly, and stand here. The deer would hear, and I keep referring to mature deer because these are the guys that are the tough ones to get close to, would have heard the vehicle come by, heard the vehicle stop, may have heard this, and then heard the vehicle drive away with no door slam. The door, you just click it shut and stand here, okay? A mature deer will just listen to the vehicle come and go. On farms, they hear it all the time. What they need to know is that they're safe because nothing specifically happened near them. So here I am, I got dropped off, I'm standing here. Now, the first thing I would do is absolutely nothing. I'd get my gear on me quietly and stand here. If you drop me off here, I'd be standing here for 5 minutes without making a move. Now, we got a mature deer laying in the timber. He's happy, he's relaxed, he's not on to anything. A deer just went down the edge of the field and just paused for a moment. So what we want to pay attention to is how he interprets danger and threats. So a few minutes, and I say more than 5 minutes, I would stand here, and then I would take my first step. And I'm going to try to take my steps efficiently as to not have to take too many of them. But my first step, here I am, I'm 2 steps closer to the tree. But the sound that he would interpret is, you know, that can almost sound like a squirrel. It's very minor, it's non-intrusive. That's what he would have heard. What we don't want him to hear is the human pace of step, 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 which is distinctively human. And that's what these guys are trained with the experience to understand what threatening is and what threatening is not. So once again, I've taken 2 steps. I'm going to wait a minute or two. I'm going to take another couple of steps. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, and I'm going to slowly advance my way to the tree stand site. Now, the thing that's very critical on this is you don't make foreign noises. If you drag the metal over here, you can hear the metal. If you listen closely, you can hear it's a metal sound. If you take this stick and rub it into the trees, it's making noise, but it's all natural. It's wood on wood and grass. Not that you want to do it, we're trying to be quiet, but the point being is this is fatal when you have a metal sound versus what might be a deer rubbing a tree or a moose rubbing a tree. In our area there's moose. So it just depends on what you're doing with respect to what sounds you're creating. Your boots, we're using the Canadian military boots because they have a very soft rubber sole, which helps dampen the noise. And also when you get on the tree steps, or bolts, what we use, when they're made of metal, the soft rubber is quiet to contact. A lot of the North American made products, you got to be careful, or North American products that we buy have got a sole designed to last, so it can be a more plastic sole that freezes hard and squeaks or clicks on the tree steps or bolts if you use them. So you want to be selective as to what kind of noises you're making. The game is being a minimalist, to do as little as possible. If I can get onto this tree stand site without stepping more, I'm going to do it. For instance, I would go like this. It's one less footstep. From here, I can access my safety gear. And when accessing your safety gear, you have to keep everything as silent as you can. You got to be very, very careful. One moment of being aggressive or moving too quick, you can click something, which can be fatal if there's an animal at close range. Now I use a locking beaner system, which is a beaner with a piece that you can spin down to lock it. Put it in, control the beaner with your thumb so it doesn't click like this. That's fatal on a mature whitetail hunt at close range. Put the lock down. Preset your length that you're happy with. And then up the tree we go. One other thing I do is I want to get the snow off my boots as best I can. These boots, if you look closely at them, have a sole that doesn't hold snow, which is key to the Canadian military boot. They're designed not to hold snow. If you have boots with an aggressive tread, they hold snow. Halfway through your hunt, that snow turns to ice, and then ice starts dropping. Then you're trying to make a move on a deer, and ice is falling out of your boots. So these boots here are designed with very little sole, and they're a soft compound, So they're very quiet on the step. So when we're about to go up, we want to get any snow off the boot. We can't afford to kick the boot aggressively on the tree. But if there's any snow, we just want to tap the boot lightly to dump the snow at the base of the tree. So I'll start up. As I go, I'm just lightly going to tap. I have to be super careful because I don't want to, the tapping sound is not a natural noise. So I just have to gently, gently tap them as I go up to clear the snow, so I'm not taking any snow with me. We've had a quiet approach. We've had a quiet climb. We've had a quiet install. The whole theory here is we're hunting deer that are within a short distance behind us in an evergreen thicket, or wherever you might hunt, a willow thicket, whatever you get close to. And then from here, obviously I'm wearing a pack. I got a bow on it. So the moves from here is, how do you continue? You have to be silent. So all my gear is silenced and taped up. My bow is silenced. So from here I would take my pack off. I would hang my pack. As a right-handed shooter, I hang my pack off my right hip so I can hold my bow in my left hand and reach anything in my pack or my rattling antlers with my right hand if need be. It's natural for me to hang my bow here and reach for any tools with my right hand as a right-handed shooter. So I would put my pack right here, off my right hip, slightly above, at about this height, okay? From there, I would hang my pack. I would take my bow hanger out of my pack, and as a right-handed shooter, I would spin my bow hanger out here, so my bow hangs forward and left of me a little bit, so I'm reaching it with my left hand. Okay, so my bow is hanging here. My pack is here, and then at this point, I just slowly put myself together. As you've seen, I've come up here with unzipped on my Fanatic bibs, including in the coldest of cold. I always come up unzipped so I don't sweat up. My hunt, a lot of the hunts that I do are 4, 6 hours long, sometimes 8 hours if I'm going to do a longer shift. But I got to get in dry, and the unzipping and the ventilation is key in the process. So I get in here and then I slowly put myself together. I'm wearing my light insulated jacket and vest right now. Ultimately, I'll get in place with my thicker neck gaiters. I will put when I get set up to hunt, I'll put my incinerator hand on my left hand so I can, if a buck gets close and I got to stay on the bow handle for a while, I can do it and survive it. I'll never hunt Canada in November with a glove on my left hand. Never, because my hand won't make it. It won't last. It'll get too cold. And then I'll figure out what accessories I'm going to wear during the process of the hunt. You know, how thick of a hat do I need? This is my, we always use the term working man. It's like the lineman line. We call it the working man line. You know, a thin cap on your head is kind of the working man get in without sweating up headgear. And then from there, piece your system together so then you're comfortable and not having to change at all mid-hunt. Once you're in, you're in. So commit to the gear and commit to being still. And that's the gist of what we're doing. The other thing that I'd point out here, this is my hunting line. I mean, we all have different harness systems, but this is my second hunting line that would go around the tree like this. Quiet with the beaners once again around the tree. And then I would clip this on and eliminate my lineman. So then I'm hunting from my hip, which is ultimately connected to the front for safety. But I have the versatility to move if a deer comes this way, that way, or the other. And in bow hunting, I always say what can go wrong will go wrong. So make sure you maintain your flexibility of being able to move. When a deer goes, if he's supposed to come through here, he's probably going to come through here just because that's the way bow hunting, especially on mature deer, works. It's going to go wrong, so plan for it. So you can respond rather than react, and you can have your success.